Welcome back to youtube.com/Margo Kamaya. I'm your host, Margo. And in today's episode, I'll be featuring two young adult fiction series. It's written by the same author, right? I think in the mid-2000s up to even unto the 2010s, this particular author has come out with a lot of great series. It has a common thread because it discusses the different types of mythology, mostly European. There's one which is African in nature, but mostly European mythology. The first book series, I think some of you already have guessed who the author is and what the two series that I'm talking about. Right? So the author that we're featuring is Riordan, right? And the first two book series that he wrote. The first one is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and the second series is the Heroes of Olympus, right? So the first one, it tackles the theme of Greek mythology. The second series, the Heroes of Olympus, tackles the Roman side of the mythology. So as we all know, Greek and Roman mythologies have a common thread. They have a common core, right? Since most of the Roman gods were copied, or patterned after the Greeks. Right? So we'll talk a little more about that, and I think some of you might be more knowledgeable than I am in terms of mythology. Okay. So how did Mr. Riordan started the Percy Jackson series and other mythology series? The story goes is that one of his kids has a learning difficulty, dyslexia. So he thought of writing a character or writing a story wherein the main character, the main protagonist, also has that same learning difficulty, right? And as you start reading Percy Jackson, the first series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, it really tackles the personality of Percy Jackson, his learning difficulty, and other things. And what I also like about Riordan is that it's embedded, the pop culture references is embedded. I think it will not be dated. The stories will not be dated. It was originally written in 2005, but 16 years after, it's already 2021. People are still collecting, people are still reading Percy Jackson and the second series, which is Heroes of Olympus, because of the references. The pop culture, the references. It's very now. The themes, the characters, the language used in the storytelling. I'll borrow a quote from Steve Jobs, and I think this best describes all of the characters or how the world of the Greek and Roman mythology was built by Riordan. Let me get it here. Okay, so Steve Jobs said, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do." Right? Okay, so aside from Percy Jackson's, there's a plethora of characters. You'll have Annabeth Chase. You also have Grover. You also have, of course, the Greek gods like Poseidon, who is the father of Percy. Then you'll have Hades. You also have Hera. You have Neptune, son of Poseidon. Well, of course, Poseidon is the Greek equivalents. No, Neptune is the Roman equivalents. Who else? There's a lot. In the second series, it concentrates more on Jason Grace and his friends as well, who descended from the Roman gods, right? So we'll start off with the Percy Jackson in the Olympians. My version, so you'll notice that my collection of Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus, they're a ragtag kind of thing. Because I started kind of late. I first read the books via ebooks, and then when I read them, each one I read a couple of times, and when I decided that, hey, I think I want to start collecting, I wasn't, I was able to buy them in like separate bookstores and separate events. So most of the books that I have, I bought them through what do you call this, the Big Bad Wolf book sale, because it was always the feature. And I wasn't able to buy the box set, so it's different. I have soft covers, I have hard covers, and then the others I also bought in National Bookstore during their sale or discount events, right? So the first one, okay, this is really the very first in Rick Riordan's series of mythology books, mythology theme books. This is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, right? This edition, I think this edition is for the Canadian audience, for the British audience, and for Australia, because my brother was also able to purchase the first 5 books in New Zealand, and it has the same cover, right? The second one, you'll see the Sea of Monsters. Now, this is the box set. So this is now the design for the box set. This is actually the only one that's different. Now, so this is the second book, the Sea of Monsters. Then you have book 3, which is the Titan's Curse, right? Unfortunately, there's no illustrations, but we'll get into that later on. Book 4 would be the Battle of the Labyrinth, right? Okay. And then book 5, The Last Olympian. Okay. This copy of mine, it's kind of different. It's older because this was given to me by a friend. So it's a used book, but again, I'm very grateful. Okay, right. So that's the first 5 books. It concentrates on the Greek mythology side, no, of the stories and also the characters. Okay, let me just... Okay. Alright, second one, which is the Heroes of Olympus. So most of the characters are based on Roman mythology, or they descended from the Roman mythology. Okay, the Roman versions of the Greek gods. So you have here, okay, the Lost Hero, okay, and then you have the Son of Neptune, which is again like what we mentioned, no? The Roman version of Poseidon. Then you have the Mark of Athena, okay, the House of Hades, and then finally book 5, okay, what's it? The Blood of Olympians. So this is book 5, right? And then aside from those 10 books, I also was able to purchase some of the specialty books, no, that came out. We have here like companion books, no, just to enhance the Percy Jackson universe. You have here Percy Jackson's Greek Gods. What I like about this is that it has illustrations inside. Okay, just a handful, but very, very nice illustration by John Rocco. There is a bigger version of this, which was also sold in Big Bad Wolf, but I decided not to purchase anymore because I was thinking like I don't want to have like double editions. I'm okay with this edition, no? A smaller version, but still great, no? Very accurate. Okay, And then the second one is Greek gods, right? Same thing. It has, okay, illustrations. Where are the illustration plates? There you go. Okay, right. Other companion books you have here: Percy Jackson and the Olympians Ultimate Guide. So what's nice, it's like a journal. Right. Okay. Ooh, this is Zeus. So Zeus in a business suit. This is Poseidon, you know, you have that laid back beach vibe thing. You have Dionysius and Hermes. Okay. And then we also have this one. Camp Half-Blood Confidential. Your real guide to the demigod training camp. This one. Okay. Same thing. Short stories. Has short stories in it. And last one that I was able to purchase, you have Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Demigod Guide, or Demigod Files. Here. So, companion piece. Okay. Alright. So that's my Percy Jackson collection. I started also collecting the Magnus Chase, which tackles more of the Norse mythology. I think I have like book 1 and 2, so I'll start, you know, reading, go back to the series and read the other books. The other series that I'm also interested in is going back to the Greek and Roman mythology, is all about Apollo. So the Trials of Apollo. I think there's already like 5 books. I've read the first 2 ebook, but again, once my interest peaks again or picks up, I will start to purchase hardbound books. Maybe I'll wait for some discount events. I think for the past year there have been, but recently my collecting direction has been more on the Filipiniana side. That's why most of my past videos are all about Filipiniana books. But now I'm kind of like gearing back towards going to international book publications. No? So something just to help, you know, cope in this event or scenario that we are facing more than a year already. So Percy Jackson, I highly again recommend the book series, not just for your kids, for your young adults, but even older adults like me. It's like, I would say that Big Bang, the TV series, you know, Sheldon Cooper, Raj, Howard, you know, the Big Bang Theory is also a series that's similar to Percy Jackson, wherein it will not be dated. The humor, the language, just the storytelling, the pop culture references, it's something that would resonate, no, through generations or through decades from now. So both of them came out in the mid 2000s, you know, 2005, 2007, 2008. But for me, if I rewatch Big Bang Theory, the first season, the first 2 seasons or 3 seasons, I still get the laughs and I don't get offended or anything. No, unlike some of the more popular series that came out in the 90s or early 2000s, where it's kind of dated already. I won't compare Harry Potter to Percy Jackson. I think they're really quite different. You know, the style of writing is so different, you know, and the theme is also different as well. I also like Harry Potter. I have tons of Harry Potter paraphernalia, but again, I won't compare them. It's all different. No, the treatment, if you're a reader, when you read Harry Potter, don't compare it to Percy Jackson. The treatment is quite different. The basis, the themes, the plot lines, the storytelling, it's quite different. And we also have to take note of when both of them, no, were written. When were they written? So the circumstances are different. Even the ethnicity of the authors. that's also one thing that we also have to consider, right? So Riordan is, you know, American, and while J.K. Rowling is British. So again, the treatment, the way things are treated, the events and everything are quite different. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, you know, me sharing my Percy Jackson, the world or the universe of Percy Jackson. I'll maybe in the future, once I've bought or read the rest of the Magnus Chase as well as the Trials of Apollo, I'm gonna create a new video and feature those books. You can buy them if you are in the Philippines. You can buy them online. You know, you have Fully Book, you have National Bookstore. They can be found in Shopee and Lazada, right? You can also go to their individual websites. I've seen some used books that are being sold as well in Facebook Marketplace and so on and so forth, right? But again, maybe difference between ebook and the printed word. Yes, ebook is quite convenient, because you don't have to carry it all the time. But again, if it's something that it's a book that you will be rereading like several times, it's something that you'll treasure, that it resonates with you, I recommend that you purchase the hardbound, okay, or not the hardbound, sorry, the printed ones as well. Have a copy of the printed ones, because the experience is different. Reading virtually is quite different from reading it through the physical book. Anyway, please don't forget to subscribe, to like the video, to share it, to place your comments, you know. If you can recommend any other young adult books that's similar to Percy Jackson, I'm open to it. No, I'm open to reading them in the future, since I have still tons of books that I need to read. But let me know, right? It might pique my interest. I might start reading them and collecting the books as well, right? So thanks everyone. Stay safe, take care, happy reading. Learning is fun, like what Taylor Swift said. So thanks everyone, take care.